Okay.
I used to pay
Oh, we're going to pause that here. Hold on.
Now, check out how...
Let's pause that. All right. What's going on, everyone? Hold on. Let's make sure we get a good angle here. Let's get rid of the stuff up here. Okay. We got a good angle. Look, we got new shirts. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Sorry, I'm a little out of sorts here. Just getting settled in. Let me make sure this is up here. If you're here in the chat, let me know if the sound is working. And let me know how the video looks. And then we'll get started. What's up, Daniel Kim? How's the sound? Let me know how the sound is, Daniel. Because I was just scrambling around here to get things going, to get things set up so that we can be on time. I'm going to bring up the hands that we played. Okay, sounds good. What's up, Anthony? Shout out to Anthony and little baby Elvis. Just making his way into the building on Monday. Was that Monday? Is that really? Yeah, I think it was Monday. How's the video? Looks good? Okay. All right. So a couple things here before we get into episode 3 here of Poker Out Loud. First of all, this is the Play Every Hand shirt. It's got the Raisin Nuts logo on the back there. See it back there? This is available at pokerrags.us if you guys would like to buy one. I might give one out here on the stream today as well. We'll see how I'm feeling. So if you guys want to go to pokerrags.us, you can pick that up there as well as any other Raisin Nuts merchandise. Also, if you listen to Sessions, it's a podcast. It's a great podcast by DGF. Comes out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And you're interested in becoming a patron like we are and joining the community, you can go to DGF. Patreon.com/DJF Poker Player and join the community there. Anything else? Let's see. Oh yeah, our podcast, me and Jody's podcast, Raising Nuts, that comes out every Wednesday at 5 a.m. Eastern. We have 85 episodes out so far. Episode 85 came out yesterday. We talked about tripping balls. I think it was a pretty entertaining episode. So hopefully you guys will check that out. And I will be putting a regular video out here on the channel about this whole experience. Sometime in the next week, hopefully I'll get some time to get it done. But for now, if you guys are ready, we'll get into this and start watching the replay. I guess maybe we'll give. There's only a few people here right now. If you guys are here, hit the like button and hit the like button, and that'll bring other people in. We'll give people a few minutes to get in. It seems like a lot of people watch the replays of this, so that's pretty cool. So we're going into episode 3 here. My face was actually on the cover of this thumbnail, so that's fun. Does it glitch a bunch of times? I don't understand what that glitch is. I'm going to try to switch my internet. It might kick me off. I don't know if I want to do that or not. All right, it might kick me off for 1 second. So just bear with me for a second if it kicks me off. Okay. I think we should be good. I switched to the faster internet in the house. So hopefully we're good now. Just confirm with me that we're good now. I think we are. All right, let's give some time for people to come in here. I'm going to tweet this out that I'm live. Where's my phone? Oh, I don't have my phone with me. All right, we'll have to do... I don't know what we'll do. Maybe we'll just start talking. Can't tweet it out. Left my phone somewhere else in the house. All right, here we go. Let's get started. So for this episode, we start in hand. Let's see. Bring it up here. We start at hand 25 of the session for episode 3.
How much I'm paying?
Let's skip this ad. There we go. All right, guys that are here in the chat with me, how's the sound on the video that's playing? Does it need to be louder?
Yeah, so I think that the biggest reason why we chose to do both a YouTube version and a subscription
Is the sound there okay on the video? Maybe a little louder? Okay, we can do that. Let's turn it up a little louder. Okay.
The site version is
there we go.
The subscription site version is going to be a much higher caliber of play. And that's no slight against the bloggers. It's just, we have 5 people in a lineup who regularly play 50, 100, or larger. With the exception of Chris, of course, but even Chris is playing like 10, 20 pretty regularly. The vloggers are going to be able to speak more to the general populace. I think that they're going to be able to demonstrate the product at a very zoomed out level. If you'd like to see a more sophisticated version of that, we also have a season on our subscription site that has some real killers in the lineup.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is hand number 25 of the session.
Opening it up from the cutoff with the ace.
Yeah, so this hand right here, if it was suited, I would consider putting in a 3-bet. It would mix between 3-bets and calls just because we are deeper than 100 big blinds. But this hand offsuit is just going to be a call all day.
I was texting Jody this entire time. Apparently I was finding something pretty humorous at this time. I don't know what the heck we were talking about, but standard here by Johnny and by Landon. Both looks fine.
I'm not going to lead this board on this texture. There are some boards I would lead, but 200 big blinds deep, you have to be really, really careful about those. And this one's going to play pretty nice as a check.
Having ace here, no flush back doors, 1 straight back door. I could definitely bet here and fold out some hands like, king highs, queen highs that have decent equity against my holdings, which I think I might do. There's a flush draw and some straight draws out there. I think I'm just going to play this one passively and see what comes on the turn.
One of the problems with betting here and trying to fold out king and queen high type hands is that a lot of Landon's king and queen high type hands are going to be check raise hands for him because they block king jack and queen jack, and they'll have some sort of backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw type hand. So that usually actually doesn't even do much. So Johnny's hand is really just going to be a check back most of the time with his exact hand. And then you get to play some later streets where you can call bets on the turn on a 10, an 8, a 6, and kind of go from there. And a 9, obviously, and an ace. Ace is probably not going to be let into you very often, but it just functions really well as a hand to check back.
Evaluate what Landon does.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, by the way, guys, so there's going to be a lot of ads in this. Apparently there's because of the music they use, there's a ton of ads during this episode, so just have that in mind. If you guys are just coming into the stream, hit the like button. That'll get more people in here for us.
And if I had the ace of clubs, this being one of the worst ace highs I'll ever have here, I think I would fold ace deuce off for sure, and then ace 3 off is pretty close. But I would start bluffing, obviously having a nut blocker, and then having some blockers on later streets like.
I don't know what he's talking about there. I don't know why I don't think there's a huge difference in defending ace deuce off and ace 3 off versus ace 4 off. So I don't know why he'd be folding those but defending ace 4. Maybe that's something that I don't understand. But in this situation, it seems like he just should be defending all those.
Let's say he checks back a 6-8 suited type hand, depending on how the board runs out. So in this spot with this hand, we have a check. But if we do want to bet with our range here, I would be mixing some small sizes like Jack X and then some 10X with the club type hands. And then I'd use some polarizing overbets with hands like flushes, nut flushes for sure. And then I would have bluffs like the nut flush blocker and then hands that contain equity but no showdown value. A hand like 6-8 off, if I did decide to defend with a club, would be a nice hand to do that with. So in this spot, we're just going to check with ace high and we're going to lose a lot. We can't start putting money in this deep.
I think I'm going to be happy just to take what limited showdown value I have here. Landon definitely. I can definitely have some hands that beat Landon. I'd expect Landon to lead some of his pairs, put some of his straight draws. I honestly just think that I can check down this one and win it. So we're not gonna get too fancy and just check.
There's really not too many hands that Landon will have here that we actually beat in our spot, but it's also not a hand that you really want to start bluffing with either, I don't think. So he is really in kind of a weird spot where he really only beats a few hands, because most of the hands that Landon has that we beat are going to start bluffing on the turn. Like, there's really few hands that I can think of that he would defend from the big blind and then maybe not start betting here. Maybe a hand like King 8 of Hearts, but even that might just start betting on turn. So I think he's going to be betting really wide here in the spot. So when he checks, it's very likely that he has some sort of showdown value, and we don't really beat much showdown value aside from hands exactly like Ace 4, Ace 3, Ace 2, Ace 6 suited.
Okay. On this spot.
I saw in the comments that everybody was commenting on how Landon says okay before he starts talking every time.
Easy check. We have a pair, so we have showdown. Johnny's hands are going to look a lot like smaller pairs than the board, like maybe some pocket eights, some sixes, and then some ace high hands as well. So in this spot, if I were going to decide to bet, I would choose mostly a small size with my range and basically just force him to call pretty wide. But this hand is too weak to place any bet because it's way too unlikely he calls with the worst hand. So in this spot, we're basically just checking to fold, and depending on the size that you choose, but he's never going to go smaller than half pot in position. So we just have a lot of single club hands that we get here with that are just going to be able to call his bet if he decides to make one. So this is going to be a check fold.
The question is if I want to turn my ace high into a bluff here. I think that there's really no value in it. I'm just going to check it back and hope to win versus a king or a queen high here.
My auto insurance.
We're going to be watching a lot of ads here. But yeah, so I think could be some merit in Johnny actually betting here on the river. Just because I think you can get folds out of some hands that defend that have very small pairs, and you can reasonably rep like some really small club hands that have that check down and now are just going for thin value. So I think I would actually bet here in Johnny's shoes, and it's also hard to get here with a lot of worse hands than what Johnny actually has. So I actually wouldn't mind betting in Johnny's spot rather than just giving up. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think Landon's going to bet for value. You know, Landon's going to call appropriately, so sure, it's whatever. But he's just going to have hands that have to fold, and I think we kind of have a hand that we can bluff with in Johnny's spot. So obviously it's easy to say in retrospect, but yeah, I think I would just be betting something small, similar to what I would bet if I had a hand like sixes or eights with a club, or a hand like ace 8 offsuit with the 8 of clubs type hand. We are going to put that back up there. You guys want to bet on what the next commercial will be?
500.
At this time, I think I was listening to Juice WRLD, if you guys are wondering. I don't really know for sure what I was listening to, but I'm guessing that was what it was. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat here, and I'm happy to answer them as we go through the footage here.
Alright, so I do think I need to address the fact that Trevor is re-raising me a fair bit. I do think I need to tighten up somewhat, but I'm not going to go too tight here. Check to offsuit is still very easy open on the cutoff here. I still think my sizing considerations are the same unless he starts going really crazy. I really wanted to. So going to keep it at 30.
In the unfortunate position that I've had a lot of pretty good hands to play, so I have a pretty aggressive image, and I'm just going to be seen as an aggressive player as it is anyway, so I might normally 3-bet this. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Hold on a second. To mix it up a bit on the button, but I'm going to fold in this spot. Yeah, so I desperately wanted to 3-bet that hand, but I had so many good hands. If you remember last episode, I played a lot of hands, and I had a lot of good hands, and I didn't have to show a lot of them either. So I definitely had like a very aggressive image, and it didn't feel like a spot that I was going to get through on a 3-bet. But given as how deep we are, I really should have just been going after it, and how kind of tight the game was playing. So definitely probably should have just 3-bet this spot. There was a lot of raise and take it, so that was another one that was hand number 26.
Since COVID hit, I've been doing fair bit of just online play. I literally haven't played live in a year. This is going to be
What's going on, CBK? Yeah, man, next time, 75% VPIP. I like that.
Poker chips
Or
for the
play every
first
hand,
time
for
in
sure.
12 months. And definitely think it's going to be a little weird. But I've been playing a lot of online tournaments, been starting to branch out into PLO cash games. So, yeah, diving into live, Golden and Holden, deep stack cash, like what could possibly go wrong?
I tell you guys, Matt really impressed me with his play and his reasoning in a lot of these hands. So I definitely thought he was the one that impressed me the most.
As previous hand, this hand is,
and I had never
still
played
gonna
with
be
him.
pretty easy. Oh.
Never played with him going in, or didn't really know too much about his game. So I was really impressed with how he played overall. It seems like we're getting some more people coming in now. If you guys are coming in now, hit that like button for me, please. That'll bring some more people into the stream. You guys can ask any questions you want here in the chat.
Position at this table and still sticking with my same size.
30.
Okay. This is a 3-bet. And I think the worst pair that I would call in this spot that would mix would probably be pocket sixes. Fives I would probably mostly call them, and sixes I would 3-bet sometimes and call 4-bet. And that's just because sixes don't block ace-5 suited 4-bets from him, and that's kind of important when his 4-betting range is going to be pretty tight. So sizing-wise, because we're 200 big blinds deep, I'm going to go a little bit bigger than I normally would. So if he made it 30, I'm going to go 110.
So guys, if you're keeping track here, right, this is hand number 27, right? So far, Landon's had queens, ace-king twice. He's had aces. So he's had aces, ace-king twice, and queens. And those are the hands that he's V-pipped, I think. Oh, he had eights also. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that came after this. But yeah, so he's had some good hands so far.
110.
So we haven't seen Landon go too crazy with three betting, so it's not. I don't think he's like super out of line. But our hand functions pretty well as a call once again. I think it's pretty similar to the ace-8 in the blinds, just a pip higher, slightly tighter ranges involved, but not going to be folding just yet. And our hand has a lot of potential several different ways, so we're going to call.
Paper Mile car insurance.
All right, there we go. Paper Mile, Metro Mile. Who got Metro Mile as the next commercial?
For you, empty nesters who hardly.
I like the idea, Anthony. Give a shirt out to whoever picks a commercial right. Maybe we'll do that towards the end of the stream. I like that idea.
So I do think it's interesting to consider having a leading range on boards like this, but my hand doesn't really function well as one of them, so I'm going to be checking and most likely just check folding.
Okay, this is a really good board for us. He is going to have, will probably have all of the pairs in full. So he's going to have sets, but if we check the suit of our cards with the Queen of Hearts, that's pretty nice. We have additional equity with the backdoor flush draw. So in a spot like this, I want to be leveraging my overpair advantage and just my overall equity on this board because he doesn't really have straights. Like the board looks kind of scary, but he's not opening and then calling out of position with 6-8 suited or 6-3 suited, so it's not really that important. The only thing we're kind of quote-unquote concerned about is hands like sets, which with the strength of our hand is irrelevant. So in this spot, when we do decide to bet, we want to bet pretty big because he is going to have pairs that are worse than ours that we can get value from. And we also have draws that we want him to immediately fold, and we want to maximize our fold equity. So we can go pretty big here. So if there's like 240 in the pot, I'm going to go about 3/4 and just go like a 180 size and just kind of live with that.
So I like Landon's thoughts here mostly. They're pretty good as far as what he wants to choose with his sizing, the reason for doing so. I would really be interested to see how he would react versus check raise in this spot. I assume it'd be call flop and then decide turns. But it's just interesting to see how people handle those situations, because they don't come up too frequently. And it's just it would be really interesting. It's a tough spot if you get check raised on this flop and then get barreled on turn. I assume he's probably not folding, though, even being 200 big blinds deep.
No reason to change the plan here. He didn't use any sort of outrageous sizing, and our hand just isn't really going to be able to navigate to showdown. It can't pick up a lot of equity, so we're just going to fold.
Let's catch up here on chat.
So easy.
When it rains, it pours.
Hey Gop, how's it going?
Just
I went to the new
make your hand
casino. I went to the new casino in Philadelphia, but I didn't play poker. Just checked it out. Me and Jody went over there. What's up, Leo? How's it going, man? Hope you are good also. And we'll figure out the details of the commercial for the poker rag shirt, for the play every hand shirt. I feel like Landon's getting paid by the word or something. Yeah, that's how I kind of felt too. I was just sitting there thinking, like, if you see me, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, what is he talking about for so long? What's going on, Rick? Rick said, I get commercials that assume my life is in shambles. Basic men's grooming product, casinos, personal bankruptcy. That's great.
Matt, you're going to win
Let's
a
go.
lot of money.
What's up,
That's
Gio?
another, Matt.
All right, so then what happens after this? Let's see. Okay, so then now I play a bunch of hands in a row. I'm going to open this hand. This is kind of a light open from this position, but I think the game is mostly playing pretty tight, so I can get away with it. Yeah, so this is not, in a tough lineup, this is not a winning open, especially with rake involved. And like this is probably not this is fine. But if you think about it this way, like I didn't think Landon was getting too out of line. I thought he was playing mostly straightforward. Rampage is on the button in this spot, so he's going to be playing a lot of hands, but he really wasn't playing too many hands either. I think he was kind of card dead. And Marle and Johnny were both playing pretty tight as well, it seemed like at this point. So I felt like the game was playing tight and I could just open a lot of hands at this spot. So I was just kind of going into kind of hyper-aggressive mode where I wasn't going to be folding hands that were even borderline.
So I guess real quick, going back to the last hand, we are going to trap some overpairs of hearts. Like aces with the heart would be a great check to trap because he is going to have bluffs in that spot. But in that case with queens, you're on a little bit more protection than kings and aces just because there are scarier turn cards that appear. This is just a fold.
Alright, I mean, sitting with this hand, it's like pretty marginal, and I feel like if I had a feeling that Trevor was probably playing a little too wide, I just might 3-bet this, but we're on the button, which kind of incentivizes us to do so, but the issue is I don't really have much of a plan if I do get 3-bet and get called or whatever. I mean, it's just really not too playable, so at the end of the day, probably going to make our lives easier if we fold, but if he is going to be playing super wide, 3-betting makes sense, but right now we'll fold.
Yeah, even though I'm playing super wide, A7 offsuit's just not in a cash game. It's not just not a good hand to 3-bet. I mean, it's fine because you have an ace blocker, but it's not going to play particularly well post flop. And it's more of like a tournament play when you have a shorter stack or whatever, or you're just kind of leveraging a stack. And against me, I'm going to be playing pretty aggressively versus 3-bets as well. So I assume that he just kind of wanted to get involved, but didn't want to get involved with me, is what I'm guessing. And so he just doesn't have a plan if he gets 4-bet. So he kind of wanted to avoid that situation. So it makes sense.
Definitely a playable hand from the big blind. Definitely also a 3-bet candidate, but against Trevor in this sort of game flow that's going on right now, I'm sensing that he wants to play some pots, and I don't particularly want to bloat a pot out of position with him, even though this hand does play relatively decent post flop. I'm just gonna opt for the call here.
I think that makes sense. I think it is a good hand to 3-bet, but what he's saying is that I'm going to be defending really high frequency, and I'll be in position, and we're deeper, which means that I'll get to realize my positional advantage much more often. It is a really nice hand to mix in for him, though, because it allows him to have kind of board coverage on some lower flops, and he's repping a really strong hand when he 3-bets from the big blind when he can just call closing the action. So it is a hand that would be, I think, game flow too. Like this would be a really good spot for him to 3-bet just because he had played pretty tight thus far. So.
My auto insurance.
It's the auto insurance again. We can't play this game. It's too.
So this just didn't make any sense to me.
It's the same commercial every time.
Gonna be checking my entire range on this particular board. And let's see what Trevor does.
Trips, no problem there, Johnny. So on this flop, I'm going to be betting a decent amount of hands, not 100% of my range, but a decent amount. And with my hand that has 2 overs and a gut shot, blockers to 9-10 and queen 9, and a decent amount of equity, I'm going to be betting very small and then betting multiple streets with this hand. So I'm going to start with that. I didn't mention here, but also the other value in my hand is actually having a 10 is really good for me because we actually want to block him from having hands like Jack 10 and 10-7 and Queen 10 as well, because those are hands that would continue. So, and a queen in my hand is also good that blocks Queen Jack as a hand of my continuing. So those type of hands are really good to bet in this spot because it becomes way more likely that your opponent has a hand like ace high or a smaller pocket pair, and now your ability to barrel multiple streets is increased. So I'm going to be betting here and then proceeding depending on what happens, obviously.
25.
Obviously, we have a couple options here. We could definitely proceed with the call trapping. We hold the 7 of diamonds in our hand, which is relevant in that if we turn our hand into a raise here with trips, he could definitely think that our range consists of some draws here, namely 10-7 and Jack 10. There's definitely some hands where we can raise and he can go into hero call mode. I think Trevor is definitely not one to give up pots, and I think there's more value in check raising here rather than trying to trap him. So we're going to go for it right now since there are some draws that he can give us credit for. And now the question is sizing.
So I disagree with that in the sense that because I'm not going to give up, you should do everything you possibly can to allow me to barrel off. Like this is a spot with my exact hand that I would probably be barreling pretty hard on flop turn river. So I think you kind of want to give me the rope to really go crazy. And additionally, against good players, like I consider myself, I will bet multiple streets in this spot for thin value as well. That might be more likely to fold future streets because I don't think that you're going to be bluffing often enough. So I think it's a spot where you want to induce me to put in multiple bets with weaker hands, both bluffs and value. And if you check raise now, you're kind of repping a smaller range of hands that once you go multiple streets, that's hard to work in multiple bluff streets because you tend to want to have equity when you bluff. And if I have hands that block you from having those bluffs, now it's hard for you to get called down. So especially when you have a hand that has backdoor flush draw and trips like this, and a 7 that blocks straights, this is a spot that I would always be calling in Johnny's spot rather than check raising. Especially also given the fact that Johnny did not have an aggressive image at this time, which is actually the reason. Partially the reason I end up calling this check raise is that I thought there was a chance that he could be check raise bluffing this spot a little too wide just because he hadn't done anything so far. But once he barrels turn, as you see, that I just give him the credit for it.
I think we can go with a little bit more than pot.
What's going on, Riddy?
His bet around $110. I think that sounds good. Let's raise it up.
Facing check raise here, have an interesting decision. I can definitely continue with my hand. The one problem with it is that having a 10 in my hand blocks a lot of the hands that would be semi-bluffing with his hand. We want him to have hands like 10-7 and Jack 10. That would be pretty natural check raise bluff candidates. But given that I do have some outs obviously against some 9x hands and I can float this hand fine, I think I would want to continue with this exact hand and fold some weaker hands, like some king high hands that don't have. I'm trying to think where I open from here. So I will be calling and then going from there. Yeah, so I was kind of unclear on thinking about what other hands I have some pretty easy, just immediate folds. Hands like king 10 suited that have backdoors. Yeah, there's this is kind of on the border. This is just a spot where I just tend to float and then see what they do on the turn and make them put in multiple bets as a bluff, or just they're going to have it very often.
Definitely definitely not surprised that Trevor made the call here. His range definitely can consist of some over pairs. He can definitely have Queen Jack himself. I'm sorry, Jack 10 himself. So we're definitely going to want to value bet. And if I did have a hand like 10-7 of diamonds or a hand like Jack 10 myself, I would size on the large size here. 6-7 actually gets there. We block that. Definitely going to go for some value and make Trevor pay to be a hero. I think my hand is way ahead of the range of cards that he's going to have. So just deciding on sizing now. I made a 110 the previous street. We go up $310.
Versus a bet here, I have a hand that I have to fold. Having 10 of clubs in my hand is kind of interesting, but doesn't really matter that much. The fake backdoor flush draw, basically. But yeah, having a 10 in my hand is not a good hand to have. 7-6 gets there now as well, and just the fact that I block a lot of his hands that would continue bluffing just makes my hand have to fold. If I had overpair, I would probably call again on turn and decide river, depending on what overpair I have. The interesting thing that I was thinking about was what I would do versus his check. If he checks, then I would likely just start betting turn with the intention of going for it on river. But once he bets here, I have to just fold my hand. So yeah, I think if I do have overpairs here, I want to say that I would definitely be considering a fold, and it depends on which overpairs. Like hands like 10s and jacks would probably be pretty easy folds. Actually, really easy folds with 10s and jacks. If I have a hand like aces, kings, or queens, that's a little bit different, and I probably have to call at least one more and then decide on river. And then, if I have hands that are draws that turn flush draws, then I would continue with those as well. Obviously, would be continue with my 9x hands like 7-6, pocket eights. So, I have plenty of hands to continue with here versus a bet that obviously Queen 10 doesn't need to float again. But yeah, so just throwing that all out there. Just getting caught up on chat here. What's up, Riddy? He said, these players talk about you with a lot of respect, like they really don't want to play pots with you because you're aggressive. Have they played with you before, or is it from the 29 hands they've seen so far? I don't think I've played with any of these people before. I have played aggressively so far in this session, mostly because I had pretty good hands. I think I have probably a reputation from the play every hand stuff of being in there, and I don't know if they've watched my vlogs or if they just assume that I'm an aggressive player. So yeah, I don't really know what the perception is from, if it's from people talking about it or what.
The little things.
All right, who had VRBO?
For granted, like getting away from the kids for.
All right, so after, oh wait, so this is the next hand. Okay, never mind. It's after this hand. There's a few walks. Same hand again. That was a loose open. Last hand is another loose open spot. I like opening under the gun in this lineup, so I'm gonna just keep opening and keep driving the action. Yeah, definitely not a profitable open. I'll tell you guys that. Don't open Queen 10 offsuit under the gun, even in a six-handed game, especially in a tougher lineup. But everyone was playing pretty tight, and it felt like a spot that I could open. This is really interesting.
This range, opening from the low jack, is going to be not very tight, so to speak, but it's going to be the tightest range of the table for obvious reasons. And this hand I would mix as a 3-bet sometimes if it was ace-5 wheel versus ace-6. And it's a really big difference because the ability to make a wheel is very important, as well as not really interfering with his opens. So this spot's just a fold, and people normally tend to call with hands like this. But the problem is you can get squeezed behind, and then you're just kind of effectively putting in dead money. Or people call behind you, and you're not finishing the hand on the button or in position. So on the button, like, you can make a case for calling this deep, but in this spot you just can't.
So I get his reasoning, and I'm sure it makes sense for a couple different reasons, but there's no chance in hell in this game that I would ever fold ace-6 suited in that spot, and I would be 3-betting it probably most of the time, and just attacking like this lineup in this spot. So I mean, I think theoretically it's fine a fold. But it's pretty interesting that he folds this, and you'll see in a few episodes later, in the same exact spots, he 3-bets ace-10 offsuit. So I'm going to be really interested to hear his reasoning for 3-betting the ace-10 offsuit in the same positions versus not 3-betting the ace-6 suited. So that'll be interesting to hear in the future.
So one thing that's very clear here is that Trevor seems to have the widest under the gun open range of anybody here.
So funny to hear the opposite things from Landon and Matt in this
spot. I'm going to have to
spot.
start defending more hands in the big blind given how people seem to be playing pre-flop in between us. So this hand's definitely going to fit the bill. I think it functions significantly better as a call here. We're getting a pretty good price, so that's what I'm going to do.
This is actually a really interesting hand.
Another dry flop situation. This one's a little more advantageous than the last one, which was a little more connected. I'm going to be betting very high frequency again in this spot. He will have some more 9x hands than me, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So I'm just taking a small bet here with 100% of my range pretty much. And my hand has some good backdoor qualities to it for making straights and obviously having overcards to 9. So expect to get called by a lot of overcard type hands here and then proceed from there. So, yeah.
25.
So basically, I'm going to be betting this flop 100% of the time. I'm going to have a lot of pairs. I'm going to have some ace-high hands that do well to bet just for value to get called by some worse hands. And then I'll have a bunch of these hands that have backdoors. It's interesting to note, like, on these type of board textures, the reason that I'm going to be betting close to 100% is because I'm going to have all kinds of backdoor opportunities, and also it's just going to be hard for him to have anything. So my intention is to bet small here and then be able to bet a ton of turns again, especially with my hand, where when I don't have an ace in my hand, it's very likely that I get called by a hand that has an ace. And I can also just bet 2 streets in this spot with a ton of hands for value as well, because it becomes very difficult for the player out of position. First of all, it's hard to make trips. It's also hard to find check raises, especially when he knows that my range under the gun can include a bunch of 9x hands as well. Like, I have pretty much all the suited 9x hands down to like 9-7 suited. So, yeah.
So on this board, it's super dry. There's no front door draw at all, and we have ace high along with a backdoor gutter to the wheel. Ace high is going to be good here at a pretty high frequency. I don't see any real need to check raise. Call seems like the best option.
Yep, that's all good for Matt there. VRBO again. Shout out to Jody for winning market share from Airbnb. It seems like the algorithm is to do the same thing twice.
Not surprised to get called in the flop here. Again, going to get called by a lot of ace high hands, a lot of king high hands, a lot of hands that have backdoor draws. So with this turn being pretty innocuous, I think I can continue betting, and I would bet here for value with a lot of pairs that are looking for protection and value. Obviously, I have some 9x hands like 9-8 suited, 10-9 suited, Jack-9 suited from under the gun, Queen-9 suited, and Ace-9 suited. That would be my really strong hands that I continue betting, and I can also continue betting over pairs as well here and just going for 3 streets. So I don't have to choose a really large sizing because I'm not polarizing to just 9x hands. I'm going to be betting lots of hands, so I'm going to choose kind of middling sizing that's going to include all of those hands.
I screwed up my sizing here actually because I miscounted the pot. I thought there was 140 in the pot, so I was intending to bet something in the 60% range. So if I could go back, I would bet probably something like 65 or 60 or 70, somewhere in there. And I think betting larger here actually hurt me in the sense that I think betting a size like 80 tends to rep a more polarized range. It's a small difference, but I think Matt was going with check raising this hand anyway, but yeah, so.
80.
So this run is interesting because we have the ace of diamonds in hand. It removes some of the barrel potential that he has, but because I think he's opening under the gun super duper wide, doesn't do as much to his range as it would to maybe somebody else's who's opening a lot tighter under the gun. It is also not lost on me that he can have 9x here. It's not like he can't. I probably still have more 9x in range. And
That's
Ace
true.
of Diamonds
Just because of the unsuited
might
varieties.
allow me to take a better line through check raising because I can now barrel off on a diamond river and block the nuts, where typically I could not. The only thing that's a little tricky here is like if I do check raise, I'm not sure how wide he's calling, so I'm not sure if I'm going to barrel cards that don't improve me and aren't a diamond. But I still think that check raising is kind of cool here. It can potentially get him off of better ace highs, and we will have an easier time probably winning the hand this way than by calling and checking most rivers, because he may be able to blast this off with a worse hand if we play it that way. Against 85.
So a couple different things about. So I want to say I think Matt played phenomenal throughout this entire thing, and his reasoning was good. I think I have a couple disagreements with him on this exact hand as to how he should approach this. I don't think I'm going to be barreling again with any other ace high hands. Like all of my ace high hands that bet flop are going to check turn here and look to pick off a bluff on the river or to just show down with ace high and beat some worse ace high hands. There's no ace high hands that I'll bet and then fold. Additionally, if I do bet hands for value on this turn, I'm not folding them to check raise either. So it's really a play for him to, he really has to combine, in order for me to, for him to get a better hand to fold, he has to check raise turn, and then he's going to have to barrel river in a spot that changes the board most likely. So it will have to be a diamond. That's what he was kind of saying. I'm not sure if I should be barreling on blank rivers or not, non-diamond rivers or non-3 rivers also. So I think his hand actually functions better as a call for that reason. Additionally, when he has ace-5, it's pretty likely that he has, at worst, he has 7 outs. He also can do some, if he wants to do some leading on some diamond rivers, or if he wants to do some check raising all in on some diamond rivers, that's going to be really beneficial to him to have. In which case, then I can have some bet folds on river. And then additionally, he's just going to have the best hand here quite a bit of the time. So yeah, I think it just makes for a better check call. And in this case, he likely, unless the river is a queen or a 10, if he could muster up a check call on the river as well, he would be winning a big pot with ace high, because I'd probably be blessing the river. It certainly makes it uncomfortable, and it definitely feels easier to just win on the turn against my air hands. But yeah, I think it does function better as a call on the turn.
There's 115 in the pot before that bet. I think I'm going to go for around 4x here.
I have an easy fold here with my hand, obviously. The other benefit for me betting this turn is having the queen of diamonds in my hand blocks him from having some flop floats that turn flush draws that can then check raise.
So that's really, really relevant. The queen of diamonds is one of the best cards for me to have here, because if he has hands like queen 10 of diamonds, queen jack of diamonds, queen 8 of diamonds, king queen of diamonds, those hands can now flop, they can easily call flop and then check raise turn as a bluff. And when I have that, that takes away a lot of those combinations. Also, you'll hear me say that maybe he has a hand like ace 5 of diamonds or ace 3 of diamonds. I didn't think, I thought maybe those hands he might check raise, but I thought most of the ace high diamond draws he would just check call with, just because they do have enough showdown value. What's up, Dalton? How's it going?
It's hard to find what hands he's going to choose to check raise bluff here on this turn, especially when I have the queen of diamonds in my hand. I guess it'd be a hand like ace 3 of diamonds or ace 5 of diamonds would make a lot of sense, but obviously those have me in bad shape with my hand anyway, so it doesn't really matter what my hand is. I'm just thinking through what I would do with other hands in my spot. If I had overpairs, I would be calling here and then deciding on rivers. If I have 9x, obviously I'm just calling. I'm not going to have any kind of 3-bet range on this spot here in these positions. So, but with my hand, obviously just have an easy fold.
Got him. Got one.
You got him? You guys are we're just spectators. We're just living in your world.
It's about damn time.
It'd be hard to have. I guess you could have worse hand than one.
I mean, I could have had the best hand, but
Yeah, you had the best hand.
yeah.
I was just trying to figure out if you could,
A moral victory, if you
you
will.
could find a hand that was worse.
Listen,
He could have Jack 8 of diamonds.
worst hand.
Basically, Jack 8 of diamonds would probably be the worst hand. All right, what do we got here, guys? Mafia City commercial. All right, so did it show it here? Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. So there's 4 hands in a row here where are raise and take it's. So Landon opens with 8s and everyone folds. Rampage opens under the gun with ace 6 of clubs. Everyone folds.
Under different lineups, but I do want to get involved more. I feel like I've been folding a ton, but yeah, I'm folding.
Then the hand after that, Matt raises ace 10 offsuit in the cutoff and wins. And the hand after that, I raise king 10 offsuit in the cutoff and win. So there's 4 straight walks that they don't show you here.
So easy.
Guy always has it.
Such a life to be Landon Tice.
All right, so keep in mind, I just opened the hand before this, obviously, and then I'm opening again with a good hand.
Got a good hand, so can be open this one. Obviously, pretty easy open, and I've been pretty active. I'm gonna definitely be defending this with to 3-bet with a call. Yeah, this is just a call.
Damn it. Almost aces.
Alright, well, finally a spot that we can actually 3-bet, kind of like suited connectors on the button. I just really like 3-betting suited connectors. They're just a lot of fun to do. So, we're gonna do it to 90. 90?
Okay, so a couple things here. As soon as he 3-bet me here, I felt like he was like, as you'll see that I mentioned. One thing, like Anthony's talking about the YouTube comments. Yeah, the YouTube comments on these videos are pretty rough. But it's important to remember, because people ask this all the time, like, are you reading lips? No one was looking at each other's faces. And what I was doing the entire time was just watching everybody's hands. And that's kind of how I get reads on situations. And so as soon as Rampage 3-bet me in the spot, I kind of felt like he was light. So I was pretty excited to play this hand, basically, because I kind of had an idea of what type of range he was going to be at, you know.
My gut instinct from this 3-bet from Ethan is that it's pretty light, just based on timing and just kind of what I felt was going to happen. But my hand is okay as a 4-bet, but I think it's okay to call also. It's going to dominate a lot of the hands that he's 3-betting, and it's going to play fine out of position where I can check call most flops. So I'm going to just start with a call and we'll go from there. I don't really want to get blown off my hand too much pre-flop or blow the pot out of position pre-flop, so we're just going to start with a call.
Yeah, so basically I'm check calling all flops, pretty much all flops in this spot. What's going on, Matt? How's it going? What's up, GG?
These board textures kind of suck, but should have...
Okay, first thing first. This board texture is excellent for Rampage's hand and for his range. So these are the type of board textures that as a pre-flop 3-better, when someone flats your 3-bet, that you want to start attacking. He has backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw, and it's just really hard for me to make a good hand in this spot. So he has the ability to start with a small bet and then go big bet on turn and rep, really strong hands. It's hard for me to have any really strong hands here.
There's one spade out there, which is fine. I'm probably going to play it how I normally would, with most of my stronger ace highs in range or some sort of pocket pair, and just going to bet for value. So there's 180 in the middle, and we're just going to go 65. Actually no, 55. That's how I'd probably play some sort of pocket tens, pocket jacks, or ace X high range.
So when I'm watching everybody's hands, this is a pretty big indication here of the strength of somebody's hand. When they have 65 out in their hand and then they take it down to 55, to me it just meant like he didn't want to risk as much on a bluff in this spot, and he didn't really know what to do. I think if he had a stronger hand, he'd bet a little bit bigger. People are into down betting, but this is something you'll see a ton in live games now because people don't know what they're doing. And shout out to Rampage because he's awesome and he's putting himself out there. But this is something you'll see really often right now in poker because people know to down bet, right? Like, oh yeah, like I 3-bet and now I'm going to bet really small on the flop. But the thing is they don't do it with their really good hands. They do it in these spots and then they don't know what to do after that, after the first small bet. So you can really take advantage of these situations. And you'll see here that I'm planning to call this flop and I don't plan on folding any street pretty much depending on the run. If it comes out diamond, then I have to fold. But most of the runouts I was just going to be calling down. And then you'll see, it's pretty amazing. You'll see a few episodes from now, almost the exact same hand plays out. I open with ace-9 of spades. Ethan 3-bets on the button. I flat this time and I say, I think he has a really good hand. The flop comes queen high. I think it came queen 3-2 or queen 4-2, which is the same board texture essentially. And I have ace-9, same hand, everything. I check, he bets, and I just snap fold, and he had kings. So you'll see that in a future episode. Like Anthony was saying, he wishes that they put them side by side, but you'll see that when we get to that part there. But so I just want to tell you that, and then you'll hear my thoughts here in game.
So I expect him to bet this flop 100%, and for this sizing, still kind of think he's full of it. And I block ace queen, block jacks, block aces. So although I don't have any backdoor hard draw or anything like that, I have a pretty easy continue. And the way this hand is playing out so far, probably going to be calling turn as well, and then going from there. And whether I'm going to call river or not, depending on the run out. So start with call.
What's up, G Hart Villa? How's it going? No problem, man. I'm happy you're here to enjoy it. And what's up, Mike Trout? Yeah, and do I think Ethan was scared? He played really weird, like checking his cards multiple times. So I think you have to put yourself in his shoes, right? First of all, it's really intimidating to talk about what you're doing in a poker hand. And when you don't have a ton of experience doing that, or playing poker for that matter, it's going to feel very uncomfortable because a lot of people, they don't play with a specific regimented strategy in mind. They're just playing how they know how to play. And they know what they're doing or they know how they do what they do. And to speak that out to the world is a little intimidating for sure. So I think he definitely was uncomfortable. But that's normal. And I give him all the credit in the world for putting himself out there and putting himself in this situation where, people are going to ridicule him in the comments and say he doesn't know what he's doing. But he was in here last week. I don't know if we'll watch the replay of this or what, but he was in here on my stream last week watching and listening for feedback. So,
Okay, for Marle Car Insurance.
all right, we're back to the insurance, guys.
Like you, only drive to drive the kids arounders, or you. And
Great turn card for me there.
Him calling is really unfortunate for us. Sitting with 10 high, there's really not a whole lot we can do, but sometimes we can just continue barreling and I keep checking my cards. That might be some sort of a tell. I don't know why I keep looking at them, but probably standardly can just check this back. Hopefully bank a 10 or 9, but sitting with 10 high, you're really not good here. Can kind of double barrel again to get, I guess, 4s, 5s, 6, I don't know, any other small to medium pocket pair to fold, which actually might be something I might do, but that's really the only hand I'm targeting. He does have, I guess, really all the queen X's, so then I'm kind of punting off money there. So I think we're just going to do this. We're going to play standardly and just check this back because 10 high is just not great.
So one good thing about 10-9 here, I'm not saying that he should be barreling this, but a couple of good things about it. First of all, he doesn't block me. He doesn't block any of the smaller pocket pairs like 4s through 8s, which is good. And he does block 9s and 10s, which would be hands that I would probably call again. So that's good. And then additionally, he doesn't have an ace in his hand, which is good as well because I'm going to check calling this flop with a lot of ace-x hands. So you don't usually want to be just going crazy with no equity. And if this were the 2 of spades, it'd be an easy spot for him to be overbetting and really forcing my ace-x hands and my pocket pairs into tough situations. you can occasionally just run it here and just go big bet turn, jam river, and really put me into a tough spot with almost all of my hands. And not having diamonds is actually pretty sweet for that because he wants me to have diamonds. So this is not the worst candidate to bet 400 on turn and jam river. Also, Matt said, do you play this hand the same way against any others at the table if this were in the same seat? I still would be flatting the 3-bet and check calling flop most of the time, and then it would just be deciding on turn and river what I would do, whether I would call down or how I approach the hand. Also, Mike Trout, thank you very much. $20.69. For the love of God, please get YouTube Premium account. That's amazing. What's up, Lisa S? How's it going? I think I actually had YouTube Premium at one point. I don't know what happened to it.
When he checks back turn, I think he's just giving up a lot of the time. It's possible that he has me beat with a hand like ace king. It's possible that he just rivered me with like a hand like ace 5. I think he would probably continue betting that on turn, but I'm not sure. He also could have some hands like pocket 9s or pocket 10s that bet flop on small. I don't think I have any reason to turn my hand into a bluff. I think I'm just bluff catching here on river. So I'm going to check and decide on if he bets what his sizing is and what I want to do from there, and just figure out from there.
Right, so when I check here, I'm checking because I think I have the best hand most of the time. Going to be picking off a bluff against these hands that have no showdown that just decide to bluff. And I can additionally, if I really want to get spicy, I can mix in some check jams or check raises. If I think he's check betting with a hand as weak as 10s or 9s or jacks or something like that. I didn't think that'd be the case, so this would be more just a bluff catch for me. What's up, Sound Guy, by the way? I saw you in here earlier. B Barnes, thanks very much. Thank you. Listen to what B Barnes is saying. Hit the like button.
Well, we've got absolutely no showdown, and there's only one way to win it. Question whether he is doing this with a hand that can fold, and really, as played, I feel like the only hands that I can get to fold are just ace and king highs. That
was not going to be correct, though. Yeah, I was not going to be folding my ace high here. I was really kind of hoping for a bet here.
Maybe some sort of draw, but like 10 highs got out.
What's up, Fortune?
So I usually don't like checking back with no showdown, but I feel like I'm just going to be punting here if I were to make a decently sized bet, and even then that just makes no sense because I feel like my hand's capped to one pair, and the only hand I can polarize my ranges with pocket 5s, and I'm not 3-betting with 5s. So
if he is going to bet here, it means that he has hands like 9s, 10s, and jacks, and therefore his sizing doesn't have to be huge. So he should be going with kind of a smaller sizing, attempting to get calls from hands like ace high or those smaller pocket pairs. He can occasionally have hands like ace 4 that are, of the nutty variety. He really just doesn't have any other nut hands is kind of what he's trying to say.
We're just going to lose this one, and I feel like we'll feel a little stupid if he shows some hand that we probably could have folded out, like ace or king high, but we'll just let him have it, I guess.
Wasn't getting through.
I'm confident that I can portray what's going on in my head, but I understand that what's going on in my head is like super basic and surface level compared to the other people I'll be playing against. I just really am not familiar with a lot of different poker terms and constructs and concepts that is a little bit more advanced, and I'm just saying a lot of basic stuff like I do in my poker vlogs, but they might not really make a whole lot of sense because it's all in my head, but we'll see. Who knows how this experience will go.
That's exactly what I was saying, and again, props to him for pointing that out. And it's hard to do. You're going to open yourself up to so much scrutiny. There was a walk the hand before this, by the way, so that you can see that people are still playing very tight.
So pretty great situation here. Obviously, I have a very aggressive image, and Johnny's open the button here. We'll be 3-betting, and in these spots, I'm going to be pretty polarized with my sizing because of the choice of hand that I'm choosing. I'm going to be 3-betting like really strong hands, and then some of the weaker hands that might be too weak to call but play well post-flop. So I'm going to go with a really...
So my big blind 3-betting strategy here might be a little antiquated because I'm not studying these situations all the time anymore because I play PLO. So my old strategy in these spots in online games, and this is maybe more relevant for 100 big blinds deep, would be to 3-bet the really strong hands and then include hands like Queen 4 suited and Queen 5 suited and Jack 4 suited, hands that are decent enough to call and defend with, but maybe might be losing a bit by doing it and just are better off with aggression and just being able to win the pot pre-flop. That, again, might be a little antiquated. I'm not sure if people are doing it more on a linear range where you're including hands like King Jack suited and hands like that for value. But that's what I chose, and I chose to go for $160 3-bet here, which 200 big blinds deep seems appropriate for sizing.
Big sizing here, especially being 200 big blinds deep. So my sizing from the big blind here will be a little bit bigger than it was from the small blind in this same spot.
160.
Definitely gonna have better hands I can defend this with. So, being that it's the bottom of my range, should definitely toss this one in the bottom.
Down $20. All right, coming up on the last hand of the session here now. This is a long hand, even though it was checked down.
It's fun to play. Under the gun though.
Who do I like playing with the most, Dalton? Everybody was nice. Everybody was fun. Easy open here for Ethan, by the way. I think I liked battling with.
My auto insurance.
Oh, there she is. There she is, guys.
I have a perfect driving record, so this just didn't make any sense to me.
I think I like battling with Matt the most and chatting with Matt.
Definitely tempted
to
mess with Ethan, but want a little bit more playability.
I'd be 3-betting that one.
So this is one of the first opportunities we've had to flat a playable hand on the button.
How does he fold the 6-9?
Obviously, with Landon and Trevor in the blinds, we're not just gonna always get to see this for $30, but this hand functions pretty well as a call. We might even also be able to play some 3-bet pots, depending on what the action looks like. So this is gonna be a call.
All right, so here's where another spot where I disagree with Matt. I think in this situation he should be 3-betting Ethan 100% of the time. I think at this table, in my opinion at least, the way that I saw things, myself and Landon, I felt like we're the most competent players at the table. And if he can isolate Ethan, even though Ethan opened up from under the gun, doesn't really mean much. Matt has an ace in his hand. I think he's just going to do so much better by 3-betting this spot, getting the pot heads up with Ethan, knocking me and Landon out of the pot. It's going to be hard for Landon and I to even enter the pot with a lot of our hands because we're going to have to cold 4-bet and we're facing an under the gun raise and a button 3-bet. So I think his hand plays better to 3-bet it and then go from there against Ethan. Yeah, that's how I would approach this situation.
Okay, so multi-way, this is a really nice hand. It's a lot better than cards that interlock with the under the gun openers open and the buttons call. So this hand right here, I'm going to make 2 pair. It's mostly going to be live, and we can make some pretty disguised hands, and we're also getting a very good price completing from the big blind, as well as also closing the action, which is really important. So in this spot, we're just going to call with this hand and kind of see what happens.
Solid analysis from Landon there. Obviously, one benefit to flatting in Matt's shoes is that you do keep in a bunch of the dominated flush draws, but it's also hard to make flush over flush. And in these situations, I'm just all for playing super aggressive and trying to win pots without showdown if you can, because it's hard to make a hand.
There's some boards that we'd want to lead, most of them being very, very low boards, but even then 200 big blinds deep, you have to be really particular. So this is not one of those boards at all, so we're going to check.
Alright, first 3-way pot we're playing here, and totally whiffed. I think it'd be super ambitious to, sometimes we can mix in the bluffs against multiple opponents, but I really don't like doing that, especially when I feel like they could, I don't know, actually, well, I feel like they should be 3-betting more, but I do have the stronger hands in my range, and this I don't know. I just don't really feel like bluffing right now into this. It just seems like a bad idea since two other players can connect with this board so much more than me, and all I've got are runner, diamond hopes, so right now we're just going to check.
So whether he should bet this flop or not is a pretty interesting situation. I think checking does make a lot of sense with his hand. It's a subtle difference, but if it was king, queen, 5, then it makes a lot more sense to start betting because now he has some more barrel candidates. King, queen, 6, same thing. But when he has 8, 7, it blocks his opponents from having 8s and 7s, which are just two easy folds. So it becomes way more likely that one of the two opponents has a king or queen in their hand, or spades, or some kind of hand, or jack 10, hands that will continue versus bet. So it's very hard to find the situations where you bet here with 8, 7 suited and get 2 folds, and then you also don't have a lot of barrel opportunities. So those are the reasons to check, and that's how you kind of want to proceed with that situation.
All right, so on the surface, this is a pretty clear check. I don't disagree with that, but I also just want to add that because this is a multi-way pot, we're also not really incentivized to go after this as much. It's sort of a pot that's protected by the equities of multiple players instead of just one. So a hand where we might, feel a c-bet or stab here heads up, I'm just going to be checking back. We have no backdoor. All we have is ace high that's often not good. So we're pretty much just giving up here unless we get some outrageous circumstances like everybody checks.
I'm listening to that good music back there. You see?
It's a clean run out. We can just sort of rep second pair or something of that nature. But for the most part, I'm in give up mode here.
Let me address some comments here. Michael Joyce, what's going on, man? Welcome back again. One thing people are missing with Rampage is that he plays very soft games and it takes a different skill set to beat those games. It's smart to learn how to beat recreational bad players first. We got the ad in the middle of this.
I have a perfect diving record, so this
and build up a bankroll while taking shots with service, learning opportunities in tougher games.
Ended up safe.
Yeah, so I think there's obviously something to be said for understanding how to beat bad players, but there's also, like, this type of game that we're playing in here is a vastly different game than the game that you'll find at Boston Billiards for sure. The thing about beating tough players is that you're just not put in tough situations. So you're not put in any situations where you actually have to think, and instead you just have to make hands. So there's a big difference. There's not beating tough. Anybody who can win money at poker can beat bad players. There's not some unique skill set to beat bad players. The unique skill set is fold when you're beat and make good hands. When you're playing in lineups like this now, your strategy is going to be really tested because you're put in situations where you actually have to win pots. You have to make decisions. You have to understand how to construct ranges and what those ranges mean and what your opponents understand about different ranges and how your hand interact with different board textures and how to follow through on future streets. And so if you don't have those things developed, you're going to struggle in these types of games for sure. Austin Hamilton, yes, I am giving commentary to the commentary. Yes, I will pause the video on Matt's face when he realizes the results of the hand. What's up, Ben Adler? How's it going? Jody, you come in here when you're ready, all right?
Okay, so this turn we are going to have the most suited cards out of the three of us, just because I am competing from the big blind, and I'm going to have a wider range, completing closing the action. This hand would have been a fun hand to check raise flop if I did face a bet, if I did have backdoor diamonds. And the reason that's important is because I'm not going to have that many bluffs in this spot anyway, so I have to be very peculiar on the combos I choose. And having the equity.
He didn't mean peculiar, he meant particular.
In the backdoor flush draw as well as drawing to a pretty live 2-pair is extremely important. And it'd be a lot more of a nicer bluff versus the button if you bet than under the gun, because under the gun is going to have kings and queens where Matt on the button is never going to have those hands that trap create. So in this spot, this hand is just going to check and basically not really take our showdown, so to speak, but rangers are. There's too many rangers in the hand to be able to try to do anything, to be able to get value or to effectively bluff. So I'm just going to check right here.
So Landon's thoughts are on point here. Lisa, that's terrible news. I hope you're Hope you guys are okay there with the
Seeing all
bidet.
these checks is very interesting. Definitely gives me an incentive to start bluffing with this, but the issue is that 3 spades on there, and I feel like the hands that can call a bet right now is just I feel like the holdings are going to be wider, and it allows 1 spade holdings to call a bet too. So I just know that this bluff that wouldn't really ever get through too often on the grand scheme of things, and if I were to commit myself to start bluffing, I'd have to do it now, and I'd have to fire again on the river, and this is just at the bottom of my range right now, so we're just going to check.
So if he does bet here, what he's saying is that he has some kind of, either he checked back with a flush draw, which is not too likely on this type of texture, or he has some sort of kind of weaker showdown type hand that is now going for protection. So it is conceivable he has a hand like King 10, King Jack. Maybe he can start betting with a hand like Ace Queen. Probably can start betting with a hand like Ace Queen. So if he does bet here, it would be for a small sizing. The issue is that when he has a hand like 8-7 with no spade in his hand, it really isn't not a spot that you want to start bluffing. So the way that you would construct a bluffing range here would be to check, and if it checks through, you can bluff river.
Alright, so I'm not going to insta-check just because that looks too much like I'm moving up, and I do still want to keep my options open on the river, but this is the kind of card that I would definitely not stab the turn on. There's just a lot of holdings in their range, like pocket pairs, between jacks and 4s with a spade, even without a spade, it can peel, and I won't have a lot of clarity on many rivers as far as like what's good to bluff and not good to bluff, especially with my exact holding that really just doesn't have any connection to this board whatsoever. So I am still going to stick with the plan, still going to check back here and evaluate rivers as they come.
Paper Mile Car Insurance for
Back to the
Metro
insurance
Miles.
ad.
People like you. Only drive to drive the kids arounders. Or you.
Okay. So in this spot, I think at a small percentage, I would have pocket 3s. It would be very low because I'm not really that incentivized to bet on the flush turn. With most combos in range, I think I'll just have to go for value though with the set of flop check through. So this would be a hand that would function nicely as a bluff in some capacity, but the only problem is under the gun and the button are both going to have Queen X hands that they decide to check on the flop and the turn. So on river, if they do decide to bet, it's not going to make that much sense to me, especially when it checks through twice. But we just have one of those hands that's probably just going to have to check fold depending on the sizings they choose. So we're just going to hope to beat 2 ace-high hands, but that's very unlikely, and we just can't really do anything about it. So we're just going to check and lose.
I can't imagine anyone to have too strong of a hand right now. And, yeah, with that said, if someone does, it'd probably be Landon since he's out of position and probably can slow play. I don't even know. I don't know what kind of king-high hands, but we're just going to bet here and bet big because we don't think. So
here's where Rampage makes a good decision to bet here, I think. The problem with his decision is his sizing. So when he bets on the river here, you can go a couple different ways. If you're going to choose this large sizing, what you're saying is that you're going to do it for value with any Queen X hand, and you're going to choose a large sizing for it. If you can do that, then that's great. That's pretty elite, but you also would have to check it back as well. I think what you want to say more often is that you have a hand like 9s, 10s, jacks, and then Queen 9, Queen 10, Queen Jack, Ace Queen, those types of hands that are going for value on this river. And it looks like a spot where you can bet those hands for value and get called maybe by a 3x hand or some of the smaller pocket pairs. And you can effectively bluff with a hand like this that had no showdown value and no barrel opportunities prior to that. If you're going to choose this sizing, then it means that you have to include, you're going to do it less of the time, but you have to include hands like Queen 9 as well when you choose this sizing.
I think really too many hands can call, so we're just going to fire this out there and see what happens.
125.
And you can see Matt immediately notices the sizing.
So this is pretty interesting action. When we get to this river card where Ethan hasn't c-bet, doesn't bet turn, I think it's pretty hard for him to have a whole lot of value here. The turn brings the 3 flush. He's probably, even if he has like pretty big slow plays on flop, I don't really expect them to check turn, especially multi-way. They're going to be pretty vulnerable. I'm actually starting to wonder if ace high can be good here. He chooses an overbet size, which is also not really in line with the actions that he's taken so far to this point. Overbet here would sort of show that he's pretty polarized, where I don't think he should be like showing like representing a king, representing a flush, a boat. I don't really think with how he's played the hand, he has those hands pretty much ever. I guess my fear with calling is that obviously there's still Landon behind us, although calling looks, like we have a queen or something, and probably gets him to fold a decent amount.
Also, Landon can probably never have a queen here, because I think the vast majority of the queens that'll have will be value betting this river.
May even get him to fold some like third pair type holdings, which is why I'm thinking calling could be a kind of cool play. My main fear though is that Ethan might take something like ace high and turn it into a bluff, even when it's actually good, a decent fraction of the time.
That is definitely a fear that could be realized here, where Ethan could have a hand like ace 9 and be bluffing, but actually have the best hand.
Or
that's the worst feeling.
That with like 4s through jacks to get kind of tricky and maybe get called by an underpair. But I think there's also just enough kind of like random stabs here to make call pretty reasonable, if fairly out of line. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it and hope I'm right.
Here, I'm going to pause it on his face, like Silent Sound Guy asked for.
Well, this is extremely interesting. And if there were a hand to try to go for something pretty insane and decide to raise blocking 3s full, it would be kind of cool, but it's just not the right hand class. And I think that my bluffs in this spot would want to be a hand with a queen in them.
Throw your questions in the chat here. I'll answer them in a second when we finish this up, because it's almost done.
Double check backhand, and blocking 3s isn't that important. And the reason that is because if either one of these two guys had pocket 3s, bets would have gone in on previous streets. So seeing a 3 blocker and thinking that it's like something that's really important is the wrong idea, I think. So I think that a queen is more likely because they're repping some pretty strong hands and I want to block their boats. So this is just going to be a fold, and I'm very curious to see what they have. I'm very curious. Good call.
Oh, we buy any car.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car.
I missed it, Sound Guy.
Damn it, I folded the best hand. Let's go. Trying to get that to fold. I had a 3. I almost just went.
Okay, so questions here we have. Ariel said, when will you actually post the poker vid, not so much the podcast? I'm going to post a video about this experience sometime in the next week, probably with a couple of preview hands from a future episode that's coming out. I'm not planning on playing anytime soon in the casino, I don't think. So, I don't know. We'll see when the Play Every Hand Challenge comes back. Hopefully in a month or two. We'll see. Michael said, good points. I do think there are some skills in soft games that separate players that can win in the games, not too hard as long as the rake isn't oppressive, and players that can crush soft games. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly different pre-flop fundamentals that you have to understand in soft games, and understanding how to play situations appropriately. But generally speaking, in a 9-handed soft game, it's going to come down a lot to who makes good hands. That's just the way that it is. If you are in like a 4-handed soft game, as a good player, a great player in those type of lineups can make a lot more money than just a good player for sure. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But the difference between elite players playing with bad players and people who are just okay and playing with bad players, there's usually not going to be a big difference. I'm sorry, I'm confusing myself now. Somebody who is just okay at poker against somebody who's bad is still going to win money, basically. The elite players might win a little bit more money, but it's not drastic. Whereas if you put those people in tough lineups, they're going to have a very difficult time. They're going to end up being the player that gets exploited. All right, there she is. Let's see, what else do we have here? Cameron, who do you think was the strongest player at the table? Well, me first. And then I thought Landon and Matt played really well. The other players at the table really didn't have a lot of situations to get involved in pots for most of the session. So it's hard. It's 90 hand sample. You don't get a ton of volume to really see what's going on. So it's really hard to get an idea of everybody's game. Let me make myself bigger here. It's hard to get an idea of everybody's game and how they played when you're only playing 90 hands. So I never make it over judgment on people's games, and I'm sure everybody's competent in their own ways. So I was definitely impressed with how Matt played for sure. Let's see what we got here. Go Sixers, Matt Hoffman. What's up, man? Stefan, I think. Did you learn about your play while doing the Poker Out Loud? I'm not sure how to answer that question. Did I learn from my play? Did I get better from watching it? I don't think so. What? Oh, you're not in the screen.
My shoulders.
Jody's here. All right, so if you guys want to stay here, we're going to start.
The other light. Where is it? Right here?
Yeah, we're going to start the live stream that we do here every Thursday night. If you guys want to hang out a little bit, at some point during the stream, we're going to give away one of these Play Every Hand shirts. You can get them at pokerrags.us. My allergies are starting to kick in bed. You can get them at pokerrags.us. It's got the Raisin the Nuts logo on the back here. But yeah. I do go to basketball games, but not casinos, yes. I don't really have a desire to go to the casino right now, to be honest with you.
But it's not Corona related. You
yeah.
just don't want to play live poker.
I just don't have any desire to play live poker right this second.
Worst vlogger ever.
So yeah, did I learn anything from watch my play? Not really. No. I mean, I kind of felt like I had an idea of what was happening at the table. It's cool to see your hands. It's cool to see everybody else's hands. I thought it was a great experience for sure.
Your screen is so dirty.
Yeah. Does Marles Barkley play more in later episodes? Was hoping she'd add some of her awesome priceless humor to some more analysis. The next episode, she plays a hand pretty poorly against Matt. And then, yeah, there's an episode later on where her and I play a pretty big pot that I thought was pretty interesting. So that's about it. I'm really hot right now. Dalton said, see that thing in the frame behind you? It's what this channel is to me, my world. I like that comment. That's a great comment, Dalton. All right, so we are going to start this live stream here. This is the Thursday night live stream we do every week. Me and Jody. We also do a podcast that comes out every Wednesday, 5 a.m., called the Raisin Nuts Podcast. You can search for that on any podcast platform. We've done 85 episodes so far, so go give that a listen. That means a lot to us.
I can't even see my damn shirt.
Well, what's your shirt? Well, here, you got to stand up a little bit.
I got to lift it up.
No, you just stand up a little bit.
No, I can't. I have to, this is what the... I got to redo this one or something, because it's...
Here we go. All right, there we go.
Oh, I can't... Which way? Oh, this way.
Poker Rags. There we go. And then that's where you can get these shirts. How was I contacted to be on the show? On the Sulphur Y vlogcast, Matt Berkey mentioned having me on along with the vlogger stuff. And Shout out to Six Figure Misfit. He tagged me and Jody and Matt and said to Berkey, if you contact Jody, I guarantee you she wants to take a vacation. He'll go out there. So I got in touch with Matt, and then we set it up for me to come out. Ian said that the lens cleaner can be used as tech wipe to clean screens too.
Nice. I have to try that.
Ben said, "What's up, Ben? What's your least favorite poker variant?" Probably no limit hold'em. No, will have to be limit hold'em. Limit hold'em's the worst. Then no limit hold'em. I like everything else better. Michael thought it said poker rage at first.
I don't know what that's like. I don't have poker rage.
Daniel said to pull up the tank top more and more and more.
No.
Mike Trout. Shout out to Mike Trout. If you go to pokerrags.us, use the code LUCKY, and you get 10% off this week. Do that. And if you order one of these shirts, we will be very appreciative. What's up, Presley? How's it going down in Trinidad, man? Hope you're doing well. What are the chances that the RTN onesie can be made in an adult size?
I don't think the chances are very good. Sorry.
No onesie. Okay.
No onesie.
All right, let's play some Jody Thinks since I just talked for an hour and a half. The way that Jody Thinks goes, we need you guys in the chat here to put in a word, a phrase, or a question for Jody. And then Jody will give her immediate thoughts on that word, phrase, or she'll answer your question. Put them in the chat here. And I'm going to give you guys a shirt. I'm going to give away one of these Play Every Hand shirts to my favorite word, phrase, or question in Jody Thinks. Should we do my favorite or your favorite?
Why do my eyes look like different sizes?
We'll do your favorite. Can you pick, or do you want me to pick?
No, you pick.
Okay. My favorite word, phrase, or question in Jody Thinks this week will get a Play Every Hand shirt from pokerrags.us. All right, so get those words, phrases, and questions in. I'm going to say words, phrases, and question one more time. Oh my God, it's hot in here.
And I sent you a message, but I guess you didn't see it. You are making so much freaking noise in the microphone. It's crazy.
With the
chair, you're like moving around. It's picking up everything.
I moved this around a lot too, because
it's picking up every single noise.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like tons of noise.
Okay. All right, we're going to get started here with Jody Thinks. You ready?
I need to not look over there.
Don't look over here. My phone is upstairs too. My dad tried to call me. Did you answer it by any chance?
No, because you canceled it immediately.
Okay. Hopefully everything's okay. All right. People that don't tip.
Ugh, awful. Just awful.
Poker.
Wonderful.
Sadist. I always forget what that means.
Sadist is like, that's part of like S&M.
Is it really?
Oh, no, wait. No, it's, yeah.
Yeah, a person who derives pleasure, especially sexual gratification, from inflicting pain or humiliation on others.
I'm out.
You're out? Okay.
I'm out on that.
Badunkadunk.
Makes me think of an ass.
Is more rake really better?
No.
Bidet.
I think that's bidet.
Bidet, you know.
Bidet. I don't know. I've never used one, but I saw that Lisa burnt her ass. Or at least one of them burnt their ass, and the other one had wet pants.
Turkey.
Turkey? Thanksgiving?
What's up, Cold Blood? What's up, Matt? How's it going, man? Regiophobia. We're going to have to look that one up, Mike Trout.
Yep, don't know what
Regiophobia. The fear of wet grass.
I don't have that.
People that give just the tip.
Like, only the tip ever? That seems unfortunate.
You don't like just the tip?
No.
You want the whole thing? Burned rectum.
That sounds awful.
People that skip dessert.
I don't get dessert.
What's your favorite dessert?
Tiramisu, but I can't have it.
You can have the one in Philly at the PSO.
All right. Well, I've not yet had a gluten-free tiramisu that tastes good. Also, I just don't ever get dessert. Like, it's very, very rare that even if there's gluten-free options, I just skip it because it's sugar and it's going to make me feel like shit. So there's no point.
Sadomasochism.
I'm out.
Is that the same thing?
It's like, it's, you know, both the things together.
Psychological tendency or sexual practice characterized by both sadism and masochism.
So now you gotta look up masochism.
Okay.
To see the exact definition.
Matt said bidets are amazing. Have you ever used a bidet?
I just said I've never used one. That was my response to bidet.
Oh, I
I've
missed
never
that.
used one.
Masochism is the same thing as sadism.
Yeah, no, I'm out. I'm not into that.
St. Patrick's Day.
Dumb. Although I did make a lot of money
Dumb?
on St. Patrick's Day one year. I worked at a bar that was it's not an Irish bar, right? But it's called PJ Wellahan's, and people would go there on St. Patty's Day. And I had this one table, and I sat there for hours, and I was so sick that day. Oh my god, I was so sick.
You think you had the Rona before the Rona?
No. But I like toughed it out because I couldn't call out, so I just dealt with it, and then I ended up making like $300 or something, which for like half a day when you're in your 20s was just great.
Smorgasbord.
I don't know, it makes me think of food, a lot of food.
Matt said it's never just the tip. Dendrophobia. I feel like that has to do with flowers, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds...
Dendrophobia. Wait, what? Dendrophobia. A morbid fear of trees.
I mean, I have a slight fear of trees, but not of trees themselves. Only of trees falling on my house or a loved one.
The Caribbean.
Love it.
Is an espresso martini an appetizer or dessert?
I drink them for appetizer, main course, dessert. I just love them.
Will you have one on Saturday?
I'm not sure yet.
Haven't decided yet? We're going out to dinner at a place that has amazing espresso martinis.
The best espresso martini I've ever had in my life, hands down. Like, hands down. And I've had some really good espresso martinis. By far the best one I've ever had. And we're going to be there on Saturday.
Green beer for St. Patrick's Day.
No. I
Why?
don't get down with food coloring.
Potamophobia.
That sounds familiar.
It's
but
the
I don't know.
fear of rivers.
The fear of rivers. No, I'm not afraid of rivers.
Silent Sound Guy has that.
Really?
'Cause-
Why? Oh, because it's like in poker,
Like in poker.
river.
Yeah. Wetter than an otter's pocket.
I don't know. I picture an otter playing in water. I don't know.
Edward 40 Hands.
Is that like the beers?
You get the beers, you duct tape the 40s to your hands so you can't put them down.
Dumb as shit. And I know my husband used to partake in that.
I never actually did it. My
your friends did.
Ton and Marco did. I took pictures of them.
Dumb, dumb, dumb.
Dalton's just coming back in here. He may have missed it. We're giving it a play every hand shirt away for the best Jody Thinks word, phrase, or question. There's not a good one yet, so you guys got to keep trying. Florida man.
I just picture my house in Florida. I don't know. What the hell is
A
that?
Florida man. You picture your house in Florida with a man in it? Is there a man in your house in Florida?
Maybe. I don't know. There's people in the house in Florida. Actually, yes, there is a man in the house because we have tenants upstairs and they're married and it's a husband and a wife. So yes, but with the Florida man, listen, why do you do this?
Because this is how you got to get the conversation going. Dandrophobia.
Is that like the fear of dandruff?
I'm just going to guess it is. I'm not even going to look it up. Do you have dandrophobia?
Yeah, a little bit.
Poker rag.
Makes me think of poker rags.
Voting.
I don't know. I don't have any strong feelings towards this.
You
one.
okay?
Yeah. What do you mean?
I don't know if you're really falling asleep or if you're good. I haven't seen a yawn yet.
I yawned twice already.
Okay, good. Mike Trout, shout out Mike Trout here. Shout out to the people watching on the replay. That's right. If you are watching on the replay and you haven't clicked the like button, I'm sure you should do that by now. Moistness.
Ugh. It's a terrible word.
Play every hand.
Trevor.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Disney.
Tiptoeing.
I used to tiptoe around as a kid all the time. I was always on my tiptoes, and now, like, our kids, same thing. Not so much anymore, but Ava was always on her tiptoes, then Cam was on her tiptoes, Andrew runs around on his tiptoes. I don't know.
Lisa says Van Gogh triple espresso vodka is the best espresso martinis. Rach and I make them all the time. We love them.
Sounds good. I have, what do I have? Oh, no, we have chocolate vodka out there.
What's going on, David? Shout out to David here in the chat. He said, would think she'd think of the Google searches.
What Google search?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's talking about. Anthony's popping in. Say goodnight. Good night, Anthony. Good night, Elvis. Good night, Sarah. Good night, Felix. Employee of the week.
Me.
Throat punch.
That's what I want to do to him all the time.
Oh, I'm about to sneeze. Oh, God. Merrick, what's going on, buddy?
Pale as hell.
I'm pale?
Yes.
Merrick, we're playing Jody Thinks right now. If you want to try to win one of these shirts, you have to...
What's on you?
I don't know. Put in a word, phrase, or question for Jody. YouTube.
We're on it.
When everything is coming your way, you're in the wrong lane.
Okay. Is that my life currently?
Date night.
Love date night. Looking forward to Saturday.
Dancing in the rain.
Nah, I'm out. It was raining today, and it was just pissing me off.
Oh, that's right. That's right. David was saying when he said Florida Man, it was a meme. The meme with Florida Man. Do you know that?
No.
Yeah. So if you go in here, if you type in Florida Man, it's all stuff like this.
Oh.
The more you know, the more you blow.
The fuck does that mean? I don't know.
The more you know, the more you blow.
I'm gonna be honest. It made me think of a blowjob.
Okay, Matt's currently in the lead right now. Thank you, Matt. You're in the lead right now. If you can beat the more you know, the more you blow, then you win this play every hand shirt. Right now, Matt's in the lead. Tripophobia.
What the hell is that? A fear of tripping?
No, it's with a Y, so
Oh.
let's see.
Fear of tryptophan?
Maybe. A version of fear of clusters of small holes, bumps, or patterns.
This is like, people were talking about this when the new iPhone came out because of the camera, like the 3 cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, this does not bother me. Honestly, that picture you brought up, when like the one that popped up with that,
Yeah.
that kind of makes me feel a little sick.
Yeah.
But, because it looks like there's something going to crawl out of that, but, no, I don't have that.
Marek said, I love martini with a lemon. That's mine and my wife's favorite drink. Sepsis.
Not good. Not good.
Donkey punch.
I love all things like that. Karate chops to the throat. You know, all of them.
Life problems.
They're never going away.
Dirty Sanchez.
Oh, that's nasty.
What's going on, Matty Young? He said, did you know when you say forward or back, your lips move in those directions?
What?
If you say forward or back.
Forward, back.
Look, see it? That's pretty good. Taxidermy.
No, I'm good. I'm not into that.
2 girls, 1 cup.
Ugh, it's terrible.
What goes up must come down.
Gravity.
The Raising the Nuts podcast.
Some great shit. Go listen to it.
Comes out every Wednesday, 5 a.m.
That's
Search for
right.
Raising the Nuts on any podcast platform.
That's right. And sometimes there's even bonus episodes.
Oh yeah, we
that
had
come out.
a bonus episode last weekend about psychedelics. If you want to learn about psychedelics for mental health or just taking psychedelics and seeing cool shit, go listen to that podcast. Our man Moose, the excellent Moose, who is not here tonight for some reason.
He's never here anymore.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he has a girlfriend now. So.
Oh, true.
Too cool for school.
Yoga pants worn as pants.
I wear fucking pants like that every day.
Why are you so angry about it?
I just like the F word. It's just a word. It's just a word. It's not a big deal. I wear my workout clothes all day, every day, and I'm good with that. They're comfortable. Like, you can't beat it.
Take my advice. I'm not using it.
I don't know what the hell that means.
Hit and run.
Oh wait, is it like take my advice because I'm not using my own advice? Hit and run. Well, it made me think of a vehicle accident, not poker related. So.
Dora the Explorer finding flora in Andorra.
Ava used to watch Dora the Explorer. That's it. I just pictured Dora the Explorer.
Jumanji.
Oh my god. I picture Kevin Hart getting blasted across the way from The Rock. That was one of the funniest things I've ever watched in my life.
Elon Musk.
Makes me think of Tesla, and I want one, and I'm not allowed to get one.
Maybe one day soon. Snacks.
I have stopped snacking. It's the greatest thing ever, except for pistachios. Although I had no pistachios today. None. I have been hardcore obsessed with pistachios, like unhealthy. We went to Whole Foods yesterday, and I refrained from purchasing a new bag because I was just like shoveling them into my mouth. It's not good.
I think you should probably go back to snacking, maybe just for Saturday or for the weekend.
All right. Maybe I'll have a snack this Saturday. We'll see.
In an elevator, ask everyone if they know why I brought you here today.
Wait, what?
I don't know what Dalton's talking about.
Wait, in an elevator.
Ask everyone if they know why I brought you here today.
Yeah, so I guess when you're in the elevator with a bunch of people, you say, do you know why I brought you here today?
That's kind of pretty funny, actually. Keto.
I like it as long as you're not shoveling dairy down your throat.
Daniel says we should do a live stream tripping balls.
Oh my god. Maybe one of these days I'll do a live stream wasted.
Wasted?
Probably not, though.
No?
No, because I don't want to deal with the hangover.
Well, when we were in Vegas, how many drinks were you in when we were in Vegas?
No, I was not wasted. I was high as a kite, but I was not wasted.
The salad.
Like the Sammy salad?
The salad.
Is that the Sammy salad?
I think so, probably.
It's delicious. I wish I could order one right now because if I was able to, that means that I am in San Diego, which is where I would love to be. Not in this hellhole, New Jersey.
On top riding.
Yeah, it's fun.
See, I see what Presley was doing there. Presley saw how excited I got from Matt's word.
What?
God. From the blowjob one.
Oh.
So he went for that. Top Shot's tech platforms. The worst. They're the stone worst, Mike Trout.
I don't know anything about it.
We're about to liquidate everything and be out very soon.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wait, I thought you. I just
The
said.
woke-
Is it? I just asked you about it earlier, and you were like, "No, it's gonna be good."
What did I say was gonna be good?
I said, "How's
No.
our funny doing?"
Yeah, I said it's gonna be good because we're gonna actually have it soon.
Oh, so you're just gonna be done with it.
We're gonna sell everything except for like maybe $100,000 worth and leave the rest.
Is that all?
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot on there.
Okay.
God,
this hair.
What is the most spoken language in the world?
I don't know. English? Spanish?
Good question. I have no idea.
I would think it was English because most people know English, because they know more than one language, whereas us asshole Americans only know English.
Presley, if you want this shirt, man, you got to put in a word, phrase, or question, or you can always go to pokerrags.us and get that. Mike Trout, you deliver shirts to Trinidad, right, Mike Trout? Is that true? Just let me know. I don't think it's on the list of countries you don't deliver to.
I don't think so.
Dinks.
I don't know what that is.
I believe it's something to do with, let me just make sure. Dual income, no kids.
What's that like? I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Mukbangophobia.
I don't know. I don't have that phobia.
Tossing salad.
I'm out. It's not for me.
Tolls.
Awful. Remember when tolls used to be like $1 or something when we were younger, and now it's like $5 just across the stupid Philadelphia Bridge.
Did you know that bees can't sting?
What?
Did you know bees? Oh, Sorry. Did you know bees can't sing?
I was going to say, bees can absolutely sting. What are you talking about? No.
They only buzz.
Mm.
Coprastastophobia is the fear of what?
I don't fucking know. Why is this all about phobias?
I don't know. We got phobia tonight. Coprastastophobia is the fear of constipation or having a hard and difficult bowel movement.
For Christ's sake. Who knows that?
Merrick
Why?
knows that apparently.
Oh, jeez.
Maddie said, does it annoy you that your signal ticker is always at a slightly different speed than the person in front of you? That's my final one.
What?
Your signal ticker is always at a slightly different speed than the person in front of you.
I don't know what the hell that
Like
means.
I assume you're like turn signal.
Oh, like they don't go at the same time?
Yeah.
No. I don't pay attention.
Isn't New Jersey the Garden State? Seems like the best place to get a salad.
It is the Garden State, yes. But the weather is just fucking terrible.
Matt said, look at how happy Trevor got LOLing at riding. Nut low.
It makes me think of 08 Grinder.
Don't spell part backwards. It's a trap.
That was a real dad joke.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Bless you.
My allergies are getting really bad.
I almost just said bless you before you
That would've
sneezed,
messed up.
and then you would have yelled at me.
Mandarin. Mandarin's the most spoken language.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Hand delivered.
My Amazon packages?
Game of Thrones.
Never saw it.
Pickleball.
Oh my god. My brother plays pickleball, and my stepdad plays pickleball, and Trevor has suggested that we play pickleball, but I feel like we would bring the average age down by like 60 years.
Afternoon delight.
Except, not really for the past year because we have kids in the house.
Jody's DIL. I don't know what that's standing for.
DIL?
Yeah, what's that stand for, Daniel Kim? He said, Jody's facial expressions make all my contributions worth it. Did you know there's such a thing as phobia?
Oh my god. This phobia stuff is ridiculous.
What's up, Mung? Is the stream lagging for everybody else, too? Hipapa monstrosquipidelophobia. Dalton said, I accidentally handed my girlfriend a glue stick instead of chapstick. She still isn't talking to me.
Come on.
New Jersey is called the Garden State, but also the armpit of America. True. Okay, here we go. Here's a question for you. Hand job or job?
What?
Would you rather hand job or job?
Like, go to work or give a hand job?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess give a hand job. Because I don't want to go to work.
Would you rather give a hand job as your work?
Maybe.
It's illegal in Texas to put what on your neighbor's cow?
Your penis?
That's a good answer. All right, is it your penis? Matt said they're both work. The man who created autocorrect died. Restaurant in peace.
Oh boy.
Maddie said, this is actually the last one. It's a joke to hopefully get a chuckle. What poker hand gets Trevor through the weekend when Jody is out of town?
I don't know. I can't think of any poker hands right now.
Jack King off. That's a good one.
Except Trevor doesn't let me go out of town anymore.
It's true. Not allowed to go anywhere. So it is the cow. It is the penis.
It really is?
No. I mean, I assume.
What is this? I'm gonna have to redesign this shirt. That's what I told Billy. I mean, who? I told somebody.
You can't put graffiti on your neighbor's cow in Texas.
Graffiti.
I assume you also can't put your penis on the cow either. I feel like that would probably be illegal also.
Graffiti. Why would anybody put graffiti on a cow? That seems wrong and just very unkind.
What is the only thing Trevor does when he plays poker? He raises the nuts.
No, he does not raise the nuts when he plays poker.
Well, I mean, I raise when I have the nuts.
Yeah, but you don't raise the nuts.
I don't raise those nuts.
You're working.
Yeah. All right. We're going to do one more minute. We're going to do one more minute to get in. Right now, I have 2 in mind. I'm going to give away 2 shirts. two shirts in mind right now. If anybody can beat these 2, then maybe I'll add another one on. But we're going to do a turbo around here. We got a minute because I got to leave in a second. So, what did Cinderella do when she got to the ball?
God only knows.
Gagging sounds. All right, that was a good one, Dalton. Silent Sound Guy said there are probably several things which are illegal to put in your neighbor's cow. Daniel said, what if that tank said poker on the rag?
Ew. That's gross.
Yeah, so Lisa, we took care of the play every hand shirt. We agreed with the raising it up. So we're taking care of that situation. Water ice.
I used to eat it all the time, Rita's, but it's all died, so I won't eat it anymore.
The leader of which country has his face on all the yogurt pots, has named the month January after himself, and banned ballet?
I don't know. Where?
I don't know. We're going to find out from Merrick in a second. Maddie said he still has another one. Why did Trevor become an autopsy sketch artist after his poker career?
I don't know.
He was used to drawing dead. That's a good one, too. Bill, thank you so much, man. Bill with the 1999. He said, you let her out of town, Trev. Always a pleasure, guys. Take care of yourselves. Ice cream money. All the best, guys. Thank you so much, Bill. We love you, and we appreciate that ice cream money. It goes to the kids every Wednesday, so they get their ice cream, and I tell them it's from Bill. So that's awesome. Benoit balls.
It just spit. How did this become such a sexual live stream?
It always is. What do you mean?
I don't have any thoughts on them because I've never used them.
Poker-themed wedding.
We actually named all of our tables... what's up with this? All of our tables at our wedding were named after different casinos, and we had some of our wedding pictures had playing cards in them and stuff. She took pictures with our rings on different playing cards, and then there's a picture where we're holding cards out, but otherwise there was no other poker stuff.
Bill, you always walk in at the most inopportune times where we're talking about the most inappropriate things. Presley said, why is the Statue of Liberty index finger 11 inches?
I don't know.
Because if it was 12 inches, it would be a foot.
Oh my God.
Lingerie only for newlyweds. But it says actually lingerine, like tangerine.
Is that a question?
I'm not sure. The question, or the answer to the country was Turkmenistan. 6-8 is my favorite hand. You go down on me and I'll owe you one.
That's selfish.
Mike Chow just said we will ship to Turkmenistan. That's right. Poker rags will ship to Turkmenistan. Cigarette Daniel. Oh, that's what comes after 69, of course. Why do you want to shoot your opponent when you lose?
I don't know why.
I don't know. What's funnier than 24?
I don't know.
25.
What?
25.
What's funnier?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know. What comes after 10?
Jack.
What kind of pants does Super Mario wear? Denim, denim, denim.
Oh my God.
Get it?
Like the sound that this game makes?
So why do you want to shoot your opponent when you lose? Because you shot your bullets, but you missed the board.
These are a lot of poker jokes, guys, and I don't play poker.
The funnier than 24, 25 was a SpongeBob joke from Dalton. Which, shout out to Dalton, he was watching 3 years ago.
When he was just a baby.
Shout out, Dalton. We love you. Okay. All right. We're wrapping it up here, guys, because I got to leave. But we're going to give away 2 shirts, 2 play every hand shirts that you can get from pokerrags.us. You can go buy these right now on the site. I think, how much are they a piece?
32.
32? I'm going to give you 2 of them?
That's what you said.
Okay. So the winners of the 2 shirts. Who said the other things? Now I forgot already. All right. They were...
You're way, way up.
Okay.
You're way...
I'm too far up?
You're like back
Okay.
in the thing.
It was... what did I say was funny?
The blowjob.
Yeah, that was Dalton, right? Wasn't it?
I don't know. I wasn't looking. It was before Jumanji, I think. Oh my god. How the hell could you ever see anything? You're scrolling through like
Okay,
a
hold on.
maniac.
We're going to go back up. I forgot. Dalton, did you have the blowjob one or was that somebody else? Or that was Matt. That was Matt. So Matt had the blowjob one and Presley with the on top one. So Matt and Presley, you guys will get Play Every Hand shirts. We'll send one out to Trinidad. We'll send one out to you, Matt.
But you have to DM me your address.
DM Jody on Instagram. If you're on Instagram. Presley, are you on Instagram? I think he is, right? I think he followed you, if I remember right.
Yes, I think so. But
Matt, I know you're on Instagram. Just DM Jody with your address. And Presley, if you add Jody on Instagram, if you're not already following her, she's at ASVG Life. Message Jody, Matt. Don't message me because she got to take care of it. That's Jody's Instagram name. And you can message her and send her your address, and she'll get the Play Every Hand shirt out to you guys. The rest of you guys, tune in again next week. I'll give another one away. Dalton, I'm sure you'll get one at some point. Dalton, that was a good one. You're convincing me maybe I'll buy you a shirt. I don't know. We'll see. Either you buy one or I'll send you one at some point, I'm sure. So you can just wait for a week or two. But yeah, thank you guys for being here with us as always. I'll be back again next week with episode 4 of the Solve for Why stuff. In the meantime, check out the podcast. Search for Raising the Nuts on any podcast platform. It comes out every Wednesday along with bonus episodes sometimes on the weekends. And we appreciate that. If you guys leave a review for the podcast on Apple, that would mean a lot to us as well. And we'll read it on the air. And like we said, you can go to pokerrags.us to get these shirts. And addition to listen to our podcast comes out on Wednesday. If you listen to Sessions by DGAF, it comes out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You can only listen to Thursday and Friday unless you are a member of the community, which we are part of. If you go to patreon.com/DJF Poker Player, you can sign up for the community. Whatever. // Yeah. Go there. You can sign up for the community, be a part of the community with a lot of people that are here in this chat with us right now. And you can listen to his podcast Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and ours on Wednesday. And then we'll be back next Thursday with another stream. Anything else? All right. See you guys. Bye.